April's an absolutely crazy month over here in the Bay Area. It's that transition month. So we are going from spring to summer when it comes to our seedlings, but it's barely spring, so everything is still blooming, everything's still producing. I've got harvesting to do. I don't have space to put my summer veggies, but it's time to get them in the garden. My greenhouse is overflowing. All of my indoor stuff has gone out. So let's see what's going on in my Bay Area garden in early to mid-April. Hey folks, if we haven't met before, my name is Tara, and like I said, I garden in the Bay Area, and maybe you found my channel because of my green stalks. I've got 15 beautiful green stalks, probably going to get a couple more as well, and I've got a playlist with all kinds of how-tos and how to get the most out of your green stalks. So if you're a new green stalker, check out that playlist when you get a chance. I think you'll learn something. But in the meanwhile, I've got other things other than green stalks going on in my garden. So yeah, let's go ahead and do a tour of my green stalks, as well as some of my planters, as well as some of my raised beds, whatever we can get around to in a reasonable amount of time today. And since we're over here, we might as well check out my glacier blue and my white, my snow green stalks. These are the ones that I decided to plant painted daisies in. Every year I try new flowers, particularly lots of new veggies as well, but flowers I really love in my green stalks. And I forgot to check the packet when I planted painted daisies, and I didn't realize they're going to grow to 3 or 4 feet. But they're beautiful flowers. Let me bring you up close so you can see them. And yeah, they have kind of made my green stalks look a little bit awkward. So no painted daisies in your green stalk, but definitely grow painted daisies in ground if you can, because they are just lovely. Yeah, I really have to reach very high to be able to see the tops of these beautiful blooms, because they are all the way up there. And they tend to droop their petals in the evening as well as early morning, but in the afternoon is when they open up and they look absolutely phenomenal, like this one. Now, they make gorgeous cut flowers because of their long stems, so they will last you, gosh, maybe 10, 12 days, 14 days. I've got a vase inside with these blooms, 14 days, and they're still looking absolutely great. Of course, I change the water regularly and things like that. But they are also competing for beauty in this space with the pansies. So it is still kind of peak tapering off season for the pansies. And the reason they look so gorgeous is because I am constantly deadheading them. Whenever I see a bloom that is kind of starting to look a little bit, I'm out of here, I pinch them off immediately. Yeah, it's a lot of work, but hey, look at the results. Now, one thing that I did not expect was that my chrysanthemums that I planted in fall last year are going to start blooming again. Look at that, the white chrysanthemums. They are very pretty and they're coming back. And I think I can actually still turn these, even though they are so kind of awkward. I've got some lantana that I'm growing over here. Now, lantana is a perennial, so I will be getting it out of here and putting it into the ground. And I will actually try to save a lot of these painted daisies as well and put them in the ground. Let's see if they transplant well. But my goodness, I absolutely love them. And if I can't transplant them, I will grow them from seed again next year. You know, these have hardly produced any deadheading flowers so far. I've probably got about maybe 5, 6 of them, but yeah, like I said, they just last and last and last. Gorgeous. So for those of you that have been following along my live streams, I post live streams every first Saturday of the month on the topic of green stalks, but I've been showing off these lemon and pink green stalks, and they are just full of so many beautiful things. Lovely, lovely nasturtiums. I've got even some white creeping verbena. Oh my gosh, I can't wait for that to fill out. I've got more painted daisies. I've got more purple creeping verbena. Oh, just so many things, you guys. I've got, what's this? This is petunias. And let me see if I can spin this around. Yeah, I've got more painted daisies coming here. This is just I love these planters. Every day I come out here and I just spend so much time looking at them because they just bring me so much joy. So going around the corner here, I've got geraniums. Oh my goodness, I've got so many geraniums, you guys. Let me show you over here. These geraniums here are about 3 years old. And for the first couple of years, they did they did okay. But this year, it's just amazing how much they are blooming. Look at them. And they've grown so tall as well. So geraniums are a flower that grows really well in my garden. So, if you find a flower that does well for you, just plant it everywhere. That's what I do. So while I'm here, I wanted to show you my roses. Now, I've had these roses for probably about 5 years or so. They had grown really tall and lanky looking. And frankly, I didn't know how to take care of roses until last year when I learned that you have to prune it. So I just pruned them back really drastically. They had been producing maybe 2-3 blooms every year. And now look at them. There are so many blooms that are showing up. Now, another thing that you want to do to keep those blooms coming profusely is you want to deadhead. So you see something like this, and the way that you deadhead is you look down the stem, you look down the stem, and you see how there's 3 leaves over here? Keep going. There you go, 5 leaves. And you also want to realize that the branch that is going to grow if you cut it off right here is going to grow this way. So it's going to kind of grow that way. So is that what you want? Or you want a branch growing kind of this way, which is what I want. So look downward until you find a branch that is going in the direction that you want it to go. Actually, maybe even this one. So cut it right here, and then it'll shoot out a branch over here, hopefully with more blooms. You want to maintain a kind of an open bowl kind of shape so that there's more airflow in the middle and the rose bushes out like it should do. It's a rose bush. This is another gorgeous one that hasn't quite yet bloomed, but I wanted to show you how many buds. I mean, this one again would produce like maybe 3 blooms a year, but last year during fall, actually it was January, I just chopped it down all the way. So it was a tall plant. It was maybe 5-6 feet tall. I chopped it down to about 2-3 feet tall, and it's producing so many blooms. So don't be afraid to prune your roses heavily during late winter. I've got my succulents over here and my cannas. Now, there is a decent amount of shade because there is a large oak tree over here, and succulents actually do enjoy shade, and so do cannas. They are tropical plants, but they're kind of understudy plants. They do require a lot of water, unlike succulents, but I figured they all like shade, so I've put them over here. And what cannas have taught me, number one, that I can grow them much better in containers because I can control the water. Water is everything when it comes to cannas. They taught me that the similar conditions that work for them would also work for ginger and turmeric, which are in the same family. And that is why I have made a self-watering container right here. I've actually got a video on how exactly I made this, but I have got ginger growing over here, you guys, and it has water underneath over here. You can see the hole, that's an overflow hole, but underneath that for about 3 inches or so, it's got water, and ginger is a heck of a thirsty plant. Oh, look, I stashed a little pineapple over here. I don't know whether it'll do anything, but it also requires lots of water, so I figured, let's see whether I can get it started. And you can see these chlorine bottles with lids that I have put in here. These are also part of that self-watering arrangement. Anyway, if you want to know how self-watering planters work, go ahead and check out that video. I will put a link to it. But yeah, look at these aeoniums, you guys. This is my hand. This is the aeonium. It is huge. It's growing in this whiskey barrel that someone converted into a planter. Isn't that pretty cool? It's got like 3 levels, and yeah, people are so creative. Yeah, someone was giving it away on Nextdoor, and I went and got it. The only problem with it is that the soil, initially when I filled it with soil, it just kept depressing and the plants were sinking in. So I decided that going forward, I would put containers into the various spots, which is what I've done. And they all seem to be doing really well. Look at that aloe. Oh my gosh, so majestic. So yep, these succulents are all sitting in this converted fountain. It was a big pain because the oak leaves kept falling in it and blocking it up. So I decided, heck, I'm not going to deal with the fountain part of it, and I converted it into a succulent garden, and my succulents are so happy in it. Look at that, how pretty. Now I've got several videos on how to grow blueberry plants. This is a tiny little thing that I got. I think it's in its 4th year right now, but it was 6 inches tall. Got it from Baker Creek. It has grown massive. And it actually produced a lot of blooms this year, but Surprisingly few berries. I don't know whether that's just the nature of the beast, that's how it is in year 4, or whether it's going to keep producing. Don't really know. So keeping an eye on this one. I've got another one here. I think this is Sunshine Blue. This has got tons of berries. Look at that. Wow. I just have to make sure my squirrels and birds don't get it, and rats. Other than that, maybe I'll put some netting. I hate bird netting because little birdies get caught in it. So I'm going to have to figure out how to protect these. Maybe just a few containers here and there over these bunches, like these clamshells. They seem to work really well. Some for me, some for the birds. So I showed you guys a video where I planted these hydrangeas. These were bare root hydrangeas. I got them from Costco actually earlier this year. First time I'm seeing bare root hydrangeas in Costco. So I grabbed a couple of boxes and they seem to be doing well. 3 out of 4 seem to be doing well. One of them is looking like, meh. And then I've got absolutely adorable geraniums. Now these are Bullseye geraniums. That's the name of it. And they are just so super easy to grow. I would imagine that it's probably one of the top 10 easiest things that I can grow from seed. Let me show you the one that's blooming right now that I also started from seed. Look at this, you guys. Whoops. There, much better. I'm still trying to get a handle of this Osmo Pocket 3 camera that I'm using. But yeah, look at these. Look at these bunches of blooms. They're so dense, and the leaves, I mean, forget the blooms. Look at those leaves. They're just so pretty. And this section over here it just brings me so much joy. It's got a lot of bloodleaf. This is actually a relative of the amaranth, believe it or not, and it overwinters in my climate, comes back every year, and it's just beautiful. It's a little bit pale because the weather is still kind of cool, but it will deepen into a nice deep red as the weather warms up. And probably the next time I show you this part of the garden, it's going to be covered in tall snapdragons. They're just starting to bloom. I've got the white and I've got pinks and I've got all kinds of colors over here. So this thing is just going to evolve and look gorgeous. And my daffodils, of course, are done for the season. So what I'm going to be doing is I will take this 5-gallon pot out and I will put it away somewhere and I will replace it with another 5-gallon pot, and this time I'm going to be planting coleus. I've got several different pretty varieties of coleus that I think will do really well over here. Oh, by the way, I made a video a few days ago. This I got from Costco. This container is from Costco, and I pointed it out to you guys in the video, and this is kind of how I use it because I talked about it in that video. I just wanted to show it to you guys in action. As I walk along the side of my house here, you can see more and more geraniums. Like I said, geraniums are doing well. So if they're doing well, why not grow them? My mother-in-law's walk over here. So this is kind of late afternoon, evening time. And yeah, the weather has started getting really warm. Everything starts to get really wilty. Oh, by the way, this is Chinese pink celery. And it just grows crazy. I mean, I planted it once and I've never planted it since. It comes back year over year in different parts of my garden. That's one of the advantages of making your own compost and doing the cold composting method is seeds do survive. That may be a bad thing if you're trying to get rid of weed seeds, but if you like volunteers, they will come up everywhere in your garden, and I love them. Sneaking into this plant to just show you guys these heads of cabbage. I've got 3. I think this is called Early Dutch. And they are solid heads, you guys. They are ready for harvesting, and I'd better harvest them soon because the weather is warming up and they are going to bolt. But this is the first time I am growing cabbage successfully. I am so proud of my efforts. And the secret for me in the hot Bay Area climate is I started them in August from seeds. So you got to start in August if you want to get ahead, because these things take forever to grow. But look at these leaves, how beautiful and large they are. I am busy setting up irrigation in a lot of my planters because the weather is getting hot very, very quickly. And this is my little irrigation carry-along container. I've got all things irrigation over here, and I can drag it around with me with this handle, but I usually have, I've got a heat gun to do my connector things. I've got all kinds of fittings. little tubes, all kinds of things that I need for irrigation. Really helps out because I don't have to go running all around the garage trying to find things when I want to do irrigation. Makes it so much easier when you have things organized. So yeah, I'm not most perfectly organized by nature, but a few things here and there I do like to keep organized because it really saves me time in the long run. I'm trying to make my garden a little bit prettier every year. It just brings me so much joy. I'm walking past my fruit trees over here and they are all doing really well. This one particularly I am so excited about. This is a Mandarin orange tree that was not doing well. I mean, all the leaves were curling and it was just, yeah, it was looking really bad. And then I transplanted it to this Vego Garden self-watering planter, and it has started doing really well after that. I think plants require consistent watering. They don't like to be dried out and then you forget about them and then you come and water them. And they don't like that on again, off again kind of thing. And so having consistent moisture available to them when they need it via the self-watering planter has really made a difference to this plant. Look at all the beautiful new leaves that are coming out and it's just full of blooms. I am excited to hopefully get some good oranges from this year. Speaking of plants that do not like inconsistent watering, this is one of them. This is a pomegranate tree. It just has not done well for me. This is a Pom Wonderful, so it's one of those common varieties, but I just didn't have irrigation set up until yesterday. Yesterday I put in this irrigation tube over here, and hopefully this is going to keep it a little bit better watered and hopefully it will be happier for it. So I'm trying to do it before the hot weather really hits, because after that soil tends to get dehydrated and hydrophobic, and then it's really hard to make it moist again. So having that constant drip every day for a little while will really make a difference in making sure that the soil doesn't go hydrophobic. So I'm pointing over here to this Meyer lemon tree. So let me just talk about this briefly. I believe this is about 5 years old, but it just, again, has not done well for me. Part of the reason I think is the watering has not been consistent. So I've got irrigation set up this year. Let's see if that makes a difference. But I had an expert master gardener. We had a party the other day and I had a bunch of friends over, and one of them was an expert on citrus, and he was telling me that after about 5 years or so, if they are sitting in containers like this, they do need to be taken out. The soil needs to be refreshed a little bit. The roots need to be trimmed, and then this needs to be replanted. That will kind of rejuvenate it. So that's something I'm looking forward, or maybe I'm not looking forward to doing, but I need to do to get this going. But you know, guys, I am thinking that as much as possible, I'm going to start planting in ground for these trees, even the fig tree. It really hates inconsistent watering. It gets all droopy. It doesn't produce very well. So on the other hand, I'll show you on the side some of the trees that are much younger than these citrus trees, just doing so much better because they are in ground and they can access water when they need it. Speaking of self-watering planters, I wanted to show you guys another self-watering planter similar to the one I just showed you. Pretty identical actually, except that that one has got that little indicator to tell you if water is empty or not. This one doesn't, but this is a dragon fruit planter, so it's also got the trellis. And if you guys have been following my dragon fruit journey, you know that I initially bought this plant. I think this is year 4 for it, but I bought this from Home Depot, not knowing what it was. Turned out it was a physical graffiti plant. I called the seller to Home Depot and I found out, and that is a self-sterile variety. So beautiful blooms. I get like 50 blooms on this every year, but not a single fruit. So anyway, a couple of years ago, I went and got a couple of other varieties. I am hoping that this is the year that these are going to be blooming, and hopefully they'll bloom at the same time as that one, and some cross-pollination will appear, and I will get some dragon fruit. I am not sure. I'm going to actually try to save some pollen so I can do some pollination by hand for this guy, but I really, really want dragon fruit. I've been taking such good care of them for the past several years. Don't you love this fuchsia plant? I'm a big Costco shopper, so I got this one actually from Costco as well. It's probably about 3 years ago. Funny story. I showed a video of me unboxing this, kind of unboxing as in taking off the wrapping thing around it and how it kind of just flowed over. And I was a little worried because I hear that fuchsia can be a little tricky to grow. So I mentioned that, hey, I don't know whether this is going to make it or not. I'm going to try. And one of my viewers suggested that I take cuttings and plant them just in case the mother plant doesn't make it. And they were absolutely right. The mother plant didn't make it, but guess what? I had taken cuttings, all the cuttings rooted. Now I've got this fuchsia plant all over the garden. So yeah, that's a little tip for you. If you get plants that can be easily rooted with cuttings, take some cuttings so that if the plant dies, at least you've got some backups. Just a couple more things I wanted to show you here. This is the modern raised bed from Vego Garden. I like showing you guys things that I've done product reviews on before, just to kind of show you how they are performing. This one is performing very well. It's got a level underneath, so it's not like completely full of soil, which is kind of nice. So it's got, I think, maybe about 18 inches or so of soil. And then I have planted, actually I didn't plant any of these. I just reused some soil and all of these beets came up. Now, I haven't been doing a good job harvesting, but yeah, I do have beets in here that need to be harvested. Or maybe I'll just kind of let them all go to seed and let the birds enjoy them. What do you think I should do? So behind me is an enclosure that my husband and my son built last year for me, because I've got 6 very large raised beds in here and the squirrels were just getting everything. And I was like, I am not doing this anymore. I'm not planting anything. So last year I completely let all of the beds go fallow, and yeah, it was just not worth my effort. I was not getting any harvest at all, not a single zucchini, not a single tomato. It was just so frustrating. So they kindly built this for me, and I am really excited to grow my summer veggies over here this year, because I'm hoping that it'll keep the squirrels out. The rats do find a way. They dig under, the voles dig under, but I'll have to control at least rats and voles. They are a little bit easier to exclude than squirrels. Squirrels are just horrible. They take everything. They chew a little bit of my tomatoes and then throw them, and it's just so frustrating. So let me show you what I've got going on right now in this enclosure. So I've got shallots right now growing here. These are actually from Costco. I got a bag of shallots and they all grew nicely. So I think in a couple of weeks, maybe a month or so, I should be able to harvest that. Got some leeks growing. I've not done too very much with these beds. I do have a GreenStalk in the corner over there. That is for my strawberries. And whoops, wrong direction again. And I've got my lovely little berry cups, and I am actually getting runners, you guys. So I'm going to be planting this runner over here, just starting to get strawberries. Usually the first few are kind of meh looking, but hopefully once I harvest these initial ones, the next few are going to be really good. Don't know. This is an experiment that I'm doing with this tower where I can control the water a little bit better, and I've only got strawberries growing over here. So I'm going to try and see if I'm able to get sweeter strawberries by just paying attention to them as a single crop rather than putting all kinds of stuff in here. I've just not had luck getting tasty strawberries. I get strawberries, just not tasty strawberries. And these berry cups are just so adorable. I mean, just look at them. Yeah, I was looking the other day in one, yeah, I think it's this one. There's a little borage flower over here, like a little pressed flower. And I've got borage growing right here, and the bees just absolutely love it. So I'm hoping that it'll help with pollination of my strawberries, even though I've got that enclosure over here. Birds cannot get in, but at least the bumblebees, and hopefully, I don't think butterflies can get in, but maybe the tiny ones can get in. And that's one of the things that I worry about, is I won't get as much pollination as I would without this enclosure. But hey, I'm going to have to worry about that bridge when I get to it. Yeah, that's one of the things that I really love about gardening, is there's just so much troubleshooting and problem solving. My brain is constantly working, right? How do I defeat that next critter that's going to get my plants? Or how do I trellis this thing differently? Or why is my soil drying out in certain places? How do I install irrigation? I've just developed so many skills as a gardener that is way beyond gardening. It's just been a lot of fun. I'm sure only a gardener can relate to it, but there's just so much more to gardening than just growing a garden. Just want to make a quick stop over here by my compost bins. Now, this is another new compost bin that I started in August. Again, this is from Vego Garden. And yeah, I just harvested, so about 6 months later, I just harvested an amazing load of compost from this. So all you need to do is you open up this bottom thing over here, and I don't want to do it one-handed right now. I'll put a little clip of where I did it, but oh my gosh, you guys, in 6 months, I managed to get such beautiful compost from the bottom, and I'm hoping that I'll keep the cycle going. You can see that I keep putting yard waste in here, so I keep filling it up from the top, and then it keeps forming compost for me at the bottom, and it was very rich, full of worms, just beautiful stuff. And I've got this bin right next to it. These are my older compost bins. I'm just so scared whenever I open this because there's a rat or something that's going to jump out at me. But you can see the leaves that I've collected. They were like overflowing, and I had filled several times over, you know, crushed them, put them down in here. And these are all converting into compost very, very quickly. It's just amazing compost. Oak leaves make the best compost. And this one over here is for my food scraps. This used to be an aero bin. I got it actually from a neighbor who was giving it away, but they did not maintain the insides of it properly. There's supposed to be like a pipe that goes through and sort of helps with the aeration, and that was missing. So I stuck this PVC pipe in here. Now I have not yet opened the bottom, but I can't tell you how much food scraps I have put over the past 6 or 7 months into this. So I'm actually pretty excited to see what I get from the bottom of that. Maybe I'll do a separate video for you guys on just the compost part to show you how these things have developed and evolved. But composting is really one of the best things that you can do for your garden. It also diverts everything that usually goes to the landfill, like food waste and stuff, or even all your green waste, just gets back into your garden. And yeah, you just develop more and more beautiful soil with beautiful microbial activity in it, which your plants really love. 2 more compost bins with leaves and wood chips and things, and I've got a few worm bins that I'll just show you now. Yeah, so these are all with worm castings and worms as well. I don't have my gloves on, so I'm not really going to dig in over here for you, but I kind of just show you conceptually how it works. So over here, you see this bin, and then I've got this side. So underneath over here, okay, I'm going to do this. I'm always worried that something's going to jump out at me. But basically there is, let me go down here. There is food scraps that I put in here, and then I put leaves and things on top of it. And then from underneath, as the food scraps start to decompose and the worms work on them, it starts to, the vermicompost forms at the bottom. So I kind of dig it out, scoop it out, and I put it in this bin. Now this bin has holes on the sides of it, all over. I've drilled holes. And then because I'm feeding on the outside, any worms that kind of got stuck in here when I filled up this bin, they crawl out into the outside and they leave just pure worm castings over here for me. This is beautiful worm castings. Yeah, so I have very little need to buy fertilizer, you guys. I really have a lot of compost or earthworm castings, and it's all my plants that get recycled into my garden. And yeah, it all grows amazingly well. Let me show you my kitties. Hey, you guys. So this girl over here, she is 4 years old, the black and white one. Her name is Ori. And the brown one over here is Bowie, my little tabby. And they're both sweethearts, but they are indoor cats. So we built Catios all around our house. They're such spoiled cats. They've probably got about maybe 3, 4 Catios around our house. So they get to see everything, but they can't touch and they can't escape, because we've got alarms on all our doors that go off whenever anyone opens a door. So we keep them nice and safe. We've got coyotes around here, and I just don't want them to get into trouble. Plus, I don't like them eating my birds. Hey guys, no fighting, no fighting. Okay, on this side of my garden, I've got a really large garden, and I want to show you my raspberry GreenStalks. Guess what, you guys? Raspberries are coming back for Mother's Day 2026. April 20th through, I don't remember the dates off the top of my head, May 10th or something like that. And yeah, razzleberries coming back, and yeah, I'm sure it's going to be a great sale. Let me show you my razzleberries. They are, I think, my favorite GreenStalk color. Yeah, this is an experiment that I am doing. I am growing all perennials, perennial flowers, in this raspberry green stock. So this is marguerite daisies. I've got geraniums. I've got what is this called? Gazania. And they close up in the evening. They open during the day. Very, very pretty flowers. But I am trying to see how long I can go without having to refresh the green stock. So the only thing that these guys get is water. And then, of course, I backfill the pockets. I don't do any fertilization or anything. But they seem to be growing really well. Came back full force this year. The plant is really big, really thick stem. And I am going to have to dig up at least the marguerite daisy and move it somewhere else. Geraniums, their roots are not that deep, so we'll see how long I can keep them in here. But I have a feeling 2 years is the limit. After that, you're going to have to replace the plants or trim the roots and put them back, which to me is not worth the hassle. I'll just plant it out in my garden somewhere else. But it's been a great experiment. And yeah, I think you can go 2 years without refreshing the green stock. Sorry, I mean without restacking the green stock, completely taking it apart and shaking out the soil and adding. I used to do that every year, but I'm trying to see whether I can just do the backfill kind of thing, just replace the soil, maybe add a little bit of fertility for my vegetable gardens. But other than that, I want to see how long I can go without completely refreshing the soil. And mostly I'm afraid that the watering system may block up. So that is the only concern, and I get things like black widows and stuff that get into those little gray saucers and live over there. Yeah, that's why I refresh or restack my green stalks every year. But we'll see whether I can skip a year, because it's a heck of a lot of work. It takes me at least 2 hours to restack a single green stalk. And now I've got 15 green stalks. I'm probably going to get a couple more, so it's going to be a lot of work. So I don't want to do it unless I have to. But in the meanwhile, check out this beautiful creeping verbena. I've got it all over my garden, and I just absolutely love it. Not just in the green stalk, I love it everywhere. Snapdragons again coming into bloom. The next time I do a video, you're going to see lots and lots of snapdragons in my garden. I think they are my favorite flower. No, maybe it's geranium. Actually, no, creeping verbena. I just love all of them. So this is my garlic. I'm doing a little bit of an experiment. I planted this bed and that bed kind of 2 weeks apart. And my garlic doesn't seem to be doing very well. And I think partly because I have not yet turned on my irrigation. We had a heat wave, and I just, I wasn't around to take care of them. So a lot of them started to yellow. So I'm just not very hopeful that I will get a good garlic harvest this year, but we'll see. Something's better than nothing. And my artichoke, on the other hand, is doing really well. So this comes back every year. And this year, I can actually see multiple plants. I've got like 3 plants growing, and I've got a few more that are not doing as well in these other beds. But hey, one bed with lots of artichoke is good enough for me, and they grow well in my Mediterranean climate. So that's a tip for you. If you want to have an easy life, choose plants that grow well in your climate. Don't struggle against nature, because if you can't do the extra work, nature will do her thing and your plant may not work out. But this one will definitely work out in my garden. Over here, I've got potatoes growing. I'm growing them in grow bags. This is like my favorite way to grow potatoes. I've actually got a video on how I planted these up, but grow bags are great because number one, you can plant the potatoes in the bottom, and then you can sort of build up the soil and the mulch on the top, and you don't have to worry about critters and things like that eating the leaves. Well, I take that back, but not as much as if it were in ground. And I've got voles and things that actually eat up the potatoes. And then the second thing is, the problem with potatoes, you plant it somewhere, you miss a few, and every year they keep coming back. And they don't give you a good harvest the following years, because you didn't intend to plant them, right? So you don't take as much good care of them, probably, at least I don't. But yeah, when I plant them in grow bags, I get every single one of them, because I just dump the grow bag out and I collect my entire harvest. So these are doing really well. They'll probably go for another, I'd say maximum 2-3 weeks, then they'll start to yellow off, and then I will harvest them, and I'm done with potatoes for the year. Got this lovely grapevine, really old grapevine. This was in this house when we moved in, so that was like 20, 21 years ago. And I don't know what variety it is, but it produces very sweet grapes. And actually, I'm seeing some little bunches starting to happen. But they are seeded grapes. They are red seeded grapes. And yeah, they're delicious, but I just don't like the seeds. So I guess they're wine grapes. And it's a very productive plant, but I just kind of let the squirrels have it. My squirrels are so spoiled. Speaking of squirrels, this side of my garden also is very much squirrel territory. This is what I call my north garden because it's kind of north facing. So yeah, it doesn't get as much sun, so things don't do as well over here anyway. And whatever I grow here, the squirrels get if I grow any edibles, particularly tomatoes. So this year I decided, forget you guys, I am not going to grow anything for you to eat. I am going to grow flowers. So in this bed, I've planted what have I planted over here? Yeah, I've got marigolds, I've got rudbeckia, I've got statice, I've got cosmos, I've got chrysanthemums, I've got gazania. So hopefully next time I show you this bed, I'll have all kinds of gorgeous blooms over here. Flowers are just taking over my garden, which has been a goal of mine to grow a lot more flowers. And this year, I think I am finally doing it. I just wanted to give you guys a quick visual of my backyard. This is where my greenhouse is, and you've probably seen this in a lot of my videos. Over here, I've got some planters that I will talk about shortly. Let me spin this around real quick here. I've got the gazebo over here, and can you imagine this whole place that you see, as far as your eye can see, all the way up to that fence was just grass. And since then, we've brought in loads of wood chips, just killed off the grass. The grass was just not doing that well. In the heat of summer, it wouldn't look great. The irrigation, we had to constantly fix it. It was just not worth the hassle. We didn't have the dog anymore, so we didn't really need that much grass. The kids grew. So we decided we were going to take out all the grass and we were going to replace it with, you know, it's nothing final, I would say. So we just put like these structures in place with temporary bricks and things. And eventually we'll sort it out when we've got it figured out what we want to do. But for now, I think it's still looking pretty. Even though it's not finalized, I think it still looks absolutely gorgeous compared to just plain green grass, or even worse, plain brown grass. Just walking by over here, these beds right in front here, there we go. Again, I've just been planting things to keep roots in the soil, you guys. Nothing over here is final. And in fact, things are getting a little out of control. I planted Scabiosa once, beautiful pincushion flower. And now I've got non-stop Scabiosa everywhere. Again, one of those plants that grows very easily natively in our climate and does really, really well. So I'm going to be pulling out all the Scabiosa eventually as I put in more permanent plants. And speaking of permanent plants, something like this rose right here. I want to put like a lot of rose bushes over here. I've actually got 3 already, but you can't quite see them because the Scabiosa is covering everything up. So I'll pull all that out. And, you know, this is part of the process. I'm just enjoying growing things and just learning and then figuring out what I want to do more permanently and then replacing things. And it's the journey, you guys. The journey is what the excitement is about. My birds help me too. So these beautiful fronds that you see over here, oh, I wish you could smell them. This is fennel, you guys, and you can actually eat this. Yeah. So I don't know what variety it is because it got planted by my birds. But what we do actually in our Indian culture, it's actually very popular to eat the seed heads. So you dry out the seed heads. It's a great digestive. We call it saunf. So yeah, it's something that we use. We put it in hot water and we drink it as tea, and it's a wonderful digestive. So thank you, birdies. So just wanted to show you my green stalks real quick. So you see, guys, these green stalks are the ones that I grow my veggies in. But just look at them. They are full of all kinds of things. Now, I guess I'm going to have to come out here and harvest because I've got things like carrots that need to be harvested. I really want to pull these carrots out and show you guys. Maybe I'll do one of them, actually. Let's see whether we can pull this carrot out just to kind of see how it did. because this one was transplanted. And you know how they say you shouldn't transplant carrots because the roots will get all wonky? Maybe they were right. The roots are kind of wonky. But I'm sure it's a delicious sweet carrot. I'm going to do one more carrot over here because I think it's ready. Plus, I need to start getting these things out because I got to start planting my summer veggies. Ooh, that's not that wonky. So maybe it's just the angle in which I planted the other one, and this didn't turn out so well. But this one looks beautiful. I guess you can transplant carrots. One quick tip about carrots is you do need to remove the leaves as soon as you harvest them, because if not, it is going to keep getting fed from the root, and you want to eat that root. I'm sure this is a delicious sweet carrot, but yeah, you can eat the greens. I find them a little bit, I don't know, kind of too grassy for me. I've made pesto with it before. I don't really like it, so I'm just going to toss it in my compost. And no, I don't have chickens or rabbits to eat them, but I'm definitely going to eat this beautiful carrot. On this side too, some more things that I need to harvest. Let's see if I can get in over here. I've got beets. Let's pull out one of these. It's a nice little beet. Got one more over here. I'll pull this one out too. Actually, two. So 3 beets in this pocket. Yeah, it's a nice looking beet. Yeah, so beets grow really well in the GreenStalk. If you haven't grown beets before, I highly recommend. These are actually smaller than some of the ones that I have grown. I've grown really large ones that I thought would actually bust the pockets because they've grown so large. But these are actually a really nice size. And beet greens are edible, you guys, and they're actually delicious, unlike carrot greens, which I don't quite like. Okay, so one thing that I'm really excited to show you guys, onions. Look at these onions. I grew these from seed, you guys, and they're growing in the top 2 tiers of the GreenStalk. From what I've heard, the top upper tiers are the ones you want to plant your onions in. The GreenStalk, they don't do as well in the lower tiers. So this is my first time. I wanted to have success, and boy, oh boy, I think I am going to have quite some success. Look at that onion base. Oh my goodness, it's so thick, and it's growing really, really well. So stay tuned. I'll do an onion harvest. It's actually growing better over here than it's growing in my raised beds. So this is definitely a win for the GreenStalk. Next year, I'll probably do several of these with onions. More Chinese pink celery, again, volunteers. You can actually see the nice pink stem over here. It's actually pretty tasty, and I like the leaves. They actually taste kind of mild, like parsley, and I use them instead of parsley when I make things like falafel. They taste exactly the same, to me at least. A couple of Vego garden products that I wanted to update you on as well. This is, I think, oh gosh, I always say this is my favorite and that is my favorite, but this is definitely near the top of the list for my favorite planters. This is the Easy Cube self-watering planter. It's got a 20-gallon tank, and everything grows well in this. I came back from vacation and this purple sprouting broccoli had grown like way past my house. And I chopped it all down because I wanted some purple sprouting broccoli. And I'm getting some, but not as good as that first harvest. But it's growing. I mean, look at that monster plant. And I've got a pepper, a Peruvian pepper that came back. And it's actually arched over here. It was more than 6 feet tall. And it's growing a lot more greens this year. So I am hoping that it is going to give me a nice early harvest compared to last year, where it was actually really late that it started producing these beautiful orange peppers. One more purple sprouting broccoli, and oh, the verbena, you guys. Aren't those absolutely stunning? So one more planter that is growing beautiful carrots for me is this tomato planter. This is also Vego Garden. And oh my goodness. I'm going to leave this over here because it's getting kind of dark, but maybe I'll do a separate video where I harvest these carrots, but I have a feeling I'm going to get some pretty nice carrots from here. And then just the last couple of things over here. This is my Costco Cedarcraft planter. My husband calls it an eyesore, but I am just trying to get the maximum out of it because things do grow well in it. It just looks horrible. I mean, it looks like the legs are going to break. I can't really move this, even though it's got wheels. You can't move this. I mean, the wheels stick. They're really tiny. They cannot hold the weight of the planter. They're kind of crooked. And I move them, I think the whole planter is going to fall apart. So not not something that you can use for more than, say, 4 or 5 years. This is about 5 years old. It's really got to go. It should have gone maybe a couple of years ago, but I just keep dragging it out. On the other hand, these beautiful planters, oh my goodness. So I'm going to be doing a video on this one shortly, but I got this one, this elevated planter, and I'm getting more and more of these elevated planters because I find that they are really great for my back. Yeah, and this one everything grew well in it last year. I'm growing onions over here as well, but I am so excited to actually set up this beautiful 10-foot by 2.5-foot huge elevated planter. Now it's going to take a lot of soil, but I'm hoping to grow an entire kitchen garden. Tomatoes, eggplants, peppers, cucumbers, basil, okra, what have you. I'm going to grow it all in this planter. So stay tuned. I'll do a complete review where I set this thing up as well as plant it up so you can see exactly what I am planting. And then, of course, I've got my beautiful potting bench from Vego Garden. I also did a review on this. It is just, oh my goodness, it's my favorite thing this year. It has made transplanting and potting up such a joy. It has got a sink over here, just so convenient. It's got these shelves. Oh my goodness, I absolutely love this setup over here. Okay, guys, I have not got to show you my greenhouse yet. There's just so much to see in my garden. I've got my indoor stuff to show you, but that's going to have to wait for another video. I will show you where I harden off all my tomato plants. I've got so many things to show you. Anyway, that's all for today. I hope you enjoyed the tour. Do comment below. What did you like? What do you want me to do a little differently? Is there anything you want me to try in my garden? I would just love to hear any comments that you have about my garden. It's my pride and joy. I love every moment that I spend in it, and I hope you do too, and I hope you have a lovely gardening season.